while flying at 1,000 miles an hour, which is even harder. But like you said, Wheat, this is Pro League for a reason, the best in the business, demonstrating the highest quality Quake champions that you can find out there right now as DaHanG and ZenAku start their next matchup. DaHanG rocking that Athena, the light. ZenAku with the Galena, the sustainability and the totems. And as we saw Avec earlier on, those totems, you got to keep them in check, because if you don't, she is unkillable. Oh, wow. ZenAku's LG, it completely threw off DaHanG. DaHanG was trying to go for his kind of little boost up near light armor, and the LG pushed him off the ledge before he could get it.
That is really unfortunate. And once again, ZenAku just made the right read there. Gonna just see if DaHanG can recover from that one. Is unfortunate. Got that rail spawn, was looking to do some damage, but ZenAku just perfect with that LG yet again. So let's see what he does. He does have at least 2 totems down right now, and another direct rocket, beautifully done. What can his opponent do? DaHanG actually coming back up, looking for that frag. The LG stream does come out. He's very, very low, but he does manage to get away. And DaHanG seemed to be not too concerned about that as a rail up the jump pad from ZenAku, getting ready for that heavy, and there it is. But only a few seconds separating these two, so probably just going to split some of these major items for a little while till there's some breathing room and someone has a chance to kind of separate it out a little bit.
Nice little prediction rocket. Looks for the rail follow-up, but was so close, unfortunately running straight into that totem. Not just damage taken, but information given to ZenAku as this Mega's the next play. But it looks a lot like the trade-off, I think, is going to be the intention. However, DaHanG looking to move forward, because even with 2 seconds separating the items, Athena being able to move faster than most. However, watch out for these rails. ZenAku looking for another one. Good tri-bolt. Well, I'd say good. It was only 30, in fact, as DaHanG is weak, pushes forward towards the light and is able to completely change his jump arc, specifically because of grapple, and he calls out ZenAku on the drop down. This has been a aggressive map so far, Wheat.
It has, and I kind of like DaHanG going that route, but ZenAku coming in with that LG very hard. Mega not up yet. He grabs it as a reward, and he is also going to get that heavy, and that is huge. It was a nice first frag by DaHanG, but ZenAku was able to capitalize quite easily off of that fight. And now for the spawn. He's up by 1 now with kind of just enough between these 2 major items to potentially try to start to go in for full control. So let's see what happens here as Mega is up. He lands on it and will immediately hightail it over there. It's got to be careful. DaHanG up top waiting for him. Rockets go up, and that ejects DaHanG out of there. So full control now for 2 cycles of our major items catch up, and I think this is exactly where ZenAku wants to be. DaHanG moving nicely, but cannot escape from that rail for the 3rd frag for ZenAku.
That's going to be a bit of a frustrating frag to concede for DaHanG, because those 2 items going in the favor of ZenAku, DaHanG let them go in favor of eventually getting a rail. It's just that the moment he picked up the rail, he died straight away. All that really happened was that he conceded a frag and gave ZenAku this upper hand. Speaking of upper hand, 4 frags in the lead already as he pushes forward towards Mega and deletes the American right out of there.
I just feel like ZenAku has been doing some LG training, because it just has been on top of his game with that. It's just been amazing. There's another nice flick rail from ZenAku as he positions for that heavy. He's got to watch here. DaHanG does have a shot. He misses the rail, and both players exchanging with confidence here. Another one, a double hit. The 3rd hit.
Triple.
Oh my God, the hat trick of rails for frag number 7. And DaHanG has to be feeling frustration right now, right? I mean, we've seen it in some of the aggression off of the spawns, but he has to be asking himself, like, what is going on right now? ZenAku is playing one of the best series of his life right now, and it does not look like he is leaving much room here. Oh, sees the grapple coming up, gives him an opportunity to go in. Oh my God, down to 12 points of health. He grabs the Mega and manages to get the frag. The frustration levels continue to rise.
And quite rightly, ZenAku is not even going to challenge. Let's just back out, let him get his damage as I retreat. As long as I can soak up the important resources on the map, I'm taking all the stack while, DaHanG is just trying to get basic weapons on deck. He's only just been able to collect a rail. He has the heavy as well, but in all the time it took for him to take that, now ZenAku's in position for a mega and looks like he's going to hit another shot. Has the mega to fall back on, and a totem. But that totem's not going to save him. Hits the shot. Are you kidding me?
I mean, these shots are just absolutely insane. That's a 55% rail, but between that triple we saw and that one just right through the archway, really impressive stuff. And we hit the halfway point of this game again, and look where we're at. Catch up, another 8 frags, now 9, separating these two. And DaHanG just, the game feels like it is slipping away. Not much of an answer. The mobility of Athena is not really offering much of an advantage here versus ZenAku so far. There we do have a frag, but DaHanG's so low, he's not in a position to be able to convert here. The light's up, he's gonna take some rocket damage there. He's gonna have to get out of there, but even some of these fights, there he gets another frag, but even some of these fights where ZenAku has come out on, the winning end, but very low, right? He's got a totem in the back pocket to just put him back up and in a good spot. So 7 frags and 4 minutes left to go. ZenAku holding on to control.
ZenAku's going to be more than aware of just how much he was outstacking DaHanG, given that, but DaHanG does manage to land another shot here. So piece by piece, this comeback is starting to exist. It looked almost bleak for the longest time, but DaHanG has been able to daisy chain some frags, and more importantly, keeping stuff in the tank for the next play. Dropping down the aggressive totem. There goes all the armor. Can he finish it? No, not quite. He keeps getting so close, but so far. But that should be an easy pickup, surely. The LG to finish it. DaHanG hitting his head on the ceiling. You talked about it earlier. One misstep and you're dead.
Yeah, he had the right idea to catch up, didn't he? But unfortunately, when you're just getting plugged away with machine gun right off of, or your opponent comes off the spawn, there's not much you can do. He took and did what he thought he needed to do. Unfortunately, didn't work out. But it is 6 frags, and DaHanG is starting to kind of bring something back here, as we've seen him hit a few more rails. He's got ZenAku down yet again. Going to use that grapple to get up there. Lands another rail, but it doesn't kill. And I think he might have expected it to. As he drops off, he just eats a mouthful of nails, and they don't go down too well. 7 frags now separating these two.
What's happening, though, is that when these rails from distance are landing and ZenAku just drops down a totem to soften the blow, DaHanG then pushes forward, maybe expecting ZenAku to be a little bit weaker than he actually is. That should be an airborne rail, an easy pickup for DaHanG, an easy shot. But what won't be easy is getting 6 frags in just over 2 minutes against a player that has been looking next level today. Can he pull this off? DaHanG, a pivotal moment. ZenAku already 1 map up here, a 2-0 this early on. That would be an impressive showing and one hell of a way for ZenAku to start off his Stage 3 journey.
I mean, as Flea mentioned earlier, so far DaHanG has had the winning record between these two in the last few matches that they've played, and ZenAku looking to really mix that up. I do believe that, well, he tried to go after that mega. Unfortunately, DaHanG not able to get it. ZenAku suffers very little damage on that one. But right now, you would think that DaHanG has the utility set he needs to be able to get that chase on, but ZenAku can be using these totems defensively, offensively, and so far has just had such a great map awareness, and is most importantly hitting those rail shots. There's some nice tri-bolt coming out there, and when you soften up someone like on an Athena like that, they can't really get aggressive, or it's going to result in just more frags.
Absolutely. And ZenAku, this is going to be the objective. It's not to land a frag. If the opportunity presents itself, whoopee. But as long as I can make it so every time you take an item, you've got nothing to push forward, that's time. Time that is on my side. Speaking of which, this is impossible. We have a minute left on the clock. Doesn't matter how many frags DaHanG gets now, because ZenAku, he's going to spawn. He's going to get some totems to drop down. And that should be another pickup. Looking for it. That's one shot, but really, this has been a miracle series for ZenAku, where this is some of the best Quake champions I think we've seen from him. DaHanG has really struggled to get this grasp on how to approach, which is rare for DaHanG. One of the players you expect to know his enemy. He plays this player versus player matchup so well, locks in control, but it feels like for the majority of this series, that control has belonged to ZenAku.
I completely agree. I mean, you look at the score right now, 7-12. Not as close as that score might make it seem, because I agree with you, Ketchup. I think this last 2.5, 3 minutes has just been ZenAku playing that defensive game, not necessarily looking for the frag. Sure, if it presents itself, great, there it is. But really, really lowering the amount of aggression or just offensive gameplay, and it pays off really well for him. 9-12 is the final score, and I just don't believe that that game is as close as this score makes it seem like it was. ZenAku was in complete control for quite a long time, and you know, damage a little higher on DaHanG's side this time, but ZenAku hitting those shots.
When they count the most, and the management of the totems, the fact that he, being able to hit the shots he was able to hit against DaHanG, who is playing a champion that is one of the hardest to hit when she's going at that absolute maximum of the high octane style. DaHanG, though, the Athena did look a little bit rough around the edges, it has to be said. Some of the movement was definitely not perfect. He got himself caught on the map a couple of times that spelled a death sentence. Kind of hard to critique that, though, because she is such a high execution champion in the first place, and she is not a champion that we see from DaHanG all that much. This could be a bit of a newer pick from him, perhaps. I could be wrong there, but I can't recall seeing it from him much historically. And yeah, he did manage to get more damage on the board. It's just that ZenAku having a little bit more stack to work with, and then you just throw on the fact that he has good use of totems. We had those rail battles where ZenAku's fighting fire with fire, but then he gets hit by a rail and drops a totem down. DaHanG pushes forward, and then he's outstacked as he's pushing forward. It goes against every piece of, I think, muscle memory you have to go, right, rail, push forward. Wait a minute, what's that totem on the floor? Dead.
Yeah. And it is clear, you know, you mentioned it based off of ZenAku's streaming and how much time he's putting into Quake Champions right now. Chat has been mentioning it as well, that, you know, ZenAku's been training with some phenomenal players, and that's going to help, right, upgrade anyone's level. And so, you know, I don't know how hard or how soft DaHanG has gone since the end of the Stage 2 finals. And I don't necessarily think this is all DaHanG not playing phenomenal. ZenAku is playing out of his mind, right? It definitely credit where credit is due. Putting in that time can make a huge difference. And DaHanG looking to maybe bring this one back, but ZenAku right now is looking at what might be his first 3-0 victory over DaHanG, and that's one hell of a way. Remember, we're on week 2, but this is ZenAku's first matchup in Stage 3. So what a way to kick that off.
Especially considering when we just look at results alone, DaHanG tends to be a player that gets more victories than losses, and DaHanG tends to be one of the players that, when you're someone in the Americas that is kind of going here and there and not having kind of every single victory, you fight DaHanG, you can normally be like, right, DaHanG's probably going to win this. If ZenAku is able to take out one of those players early, how well could he do against the rest of the competition if he's playing like this? There are so many questions to ask, and we are seeing the grind pay off. Right now, as we're talking, these maps that ZenAku is bringing forward, like I said, this isn't even close to the ZenAku that started in Pro League. This is an entirely different man, but it's because he's put it into his focus. He's dedicated so much to becoming the best he can be that it's great to see these kind of results, to be honest. I'm very proud of him.
Yep. And chat is starting to get proud of him. Not only are we seeing it in the messages, but also the predictions. They were leaning more towards ZenAku. They still came back to DaHanG. So people don't even, like when they say, hey, I'll believe it when I see it, or, I want to see it with my own eyes. Well, apparently that's not even enough because the point's still looking more on DaHanG's favor. But let's see if ZenAku can bring a 3-0 versus DaHanG in his first week here in Stage 3.
Well, as we say here in the UK, the proof is in the pudding. And I think right now we are seeing just what a hardcore grind can do for any player that makes it into Pro League status. ZenAku showing that he's one of the best players in the world right now. An aggressive push, though, and one that will definitely favor DaHanG. ZenAku pops the injection to douse the flames, but will that be enough to save his skin? Not much skin left, seeing as he's shirtless and just got set on fire.
He's definitely feeling that one, and he's very, very low. That little exchange prevented the armor, and right now DaHanG has done an amazing job denying both of those lights to the point where there was nothing that ZenAku could do. And now heading on over to the heavy, knowing that it is up. He missed it. There he grabs it. And now we're out. That actually is beneficial kind of to both players, as it does separate out the timing here of our major items. But DaHanG up by 1, and ZenAku still playing very confidently. Was not really in a great spot in that first time. He's going to try to sneak in here and grab himself a Mega. We do have flames coming out, and Mega is going to be picked up by DaHanG. So ZenAku not able to do much there, but even for as low as he was catch-up, I'm surprised as much room he's been able to kind of create for himself.
I'm liking this Anarchy choice from ZenAku so far. You have the option to kind of glide around the rockets a bit more than other champions can, thanks to his mobility. Let's just not forget the fact that Anarchy is one of the few champions in the entire game that has got a direct answer to dot-based abilities. Whether it's Sorlag Spit or whether it's the Flame Strike, if he gets set on fire or whatever, he can just pop that injection and stop it instantly. Not a lot of champions are able to essentially stop what is sometimes a bit of a checkmate situation where you cannot challenge. ZenAku now 2-1. But management of that injection is going to be everything on this map.
Completely agree. Can't really just be doing it in an uptime way. I think to your point, he's got to kind of use it as a way to counter what DaHanG's trying to do. Now, it was unfortunate there. DaHanG, I think, just off on the timing. He had a general idea there. The flames come out in a very close quarters. That will result in the frag. But he had the timing approximately for that heavy, but was still a few seconds short. So I like that he went in for it, but unfortunately now he'll have the timing, but at the cost of a frag. 2-3 now, 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. And ZenAku's movement is looking nice. He does take the lead here, as he has, as you said, I think the management of his inject and has been really nice, and he's probably just got to keep close tabs on those vials too, so that he doesn't find himself with up against flames, right, with no inject at all. But holding on, heavy is up. ZenAku's going to have to give that one up.
So that frag that he was able to land towards heavy, actually, the reason I like that so much is because he did go down to Flame Strike, but then he knows that it's down, pops the injection off spawn to get a little bit of that speed, get himself a stack, and immediately make his presence known with only a starting machine gun. So that's very much him seeing that Flame Strike isn't there and then using that into his next strategy. Like I said, the management of the injection mattering a great deal, but now ZenAku trying to protect this lead. Injection is ready to go, but if he doesn't have to use it, all the better. Let's pop it now, though. As Flame Strike, locked and loaded. No doubt ZenAku is going to have to play a very respectful game now, because he knows what's in store if he gets too close.
Yeah, and unfortunately giving up that heavy, well, I don't know. Actually, DaHanG went on the chase. I thought he was going to have to give up that Mega too. DaHanG does get there and snags it just in time. And that means ZenAku without a major item here. And that is unfortunate, because he was controlling at least one of them. But DaHanG doing a great job scooping that up. He now has the better stack. ZenAku is still struggling to find those lights. But again, his positioning, his accuracy, real nice. Question is, how long can he keep that up? He grabs a light in the red room. He needs a little bit of health. He's got to be careful in that LG versus LG, because DaHanG definitely putting the hurt on in that regard. But I mean, ZenAku's armor stack the entire game has not been phenomenal. And it's really what's allowed DaHanG to have a little bit more presence on the map than I think ZenAku would like to have him to have.
But as much as DaHanG is now starting to cycle this map and pick up everything, one thing remains the same, and that's the fact that ZenAku has one frag in the lead. He's happy to play this patient game for now. Maybe DaHanG can take him by surprise or spring some kind of trap, but at the moment, ZenAku is keeping DaHanG on the end of a string. And all of these defensive shots, if he can nullify any of these major items, he's laughing. But without armor, this hit and run style of play becomes riskier and riskier by the minute.
He definitely respects the nuke, right? He's well aware of what he can and cannot do. Nice rocket by DaHanG. Allows him to get a stream of LG on his opponent. ZenAku knew he needed to escape, and off the spawn into the RL room. Another one, and for the first time, DaHanG is in the lead. He's going to throw flames out to make sure he can secure yet a another, and that is 3 in a row to suddenly make it 5-3. He's going to scoop up all of the armors. He's got timings down, and this might be a huge turning point here for DaHanG. You can see it in his play, see it in his aim. He knows he can smell blood, and he is definitely going after it.
I mean, you can see why ZenAku was trying so hard to keep that kind of arm's reach style of game plan, because the moment he got caught point blank, of which that first frag that happened there, the cycle of 3, just got stuck on the wall. You know, got stuck on the door trying to retreat. Whether that was him getting stuck, whether that was the LG pushing him into it, whatever it was, 2 wonderful good spawn catches there from DaHanG, and just like that, comfortably in the lead, keeping the control he established in the first place. And ZenAku has a lot of work to do. 2 frags doesn't sound like much, but when you've got a stacked Death Knight who is just looking to catch you tender, it's going to be easier said than done.
Yeah, I'm really worried for ZenAku here. The flames are out, and there it is. Flames come, and Mega spawned. Mega was secured, and DaHanG got his 6th frag. And it is not over yet, but DaHanG certainly has shifted the momentum pretty significantly here in the last 2.5 minutes. It all really started when ZenAku had to give up that heavy, and unfortunately was not able to grab either of the majors. Ever since then, he's been struggling to get those lights. In fact, just looking at the lights, he does have 10, but to 12 of DaHanG. And the armor and Mega is certainly in DaHanG's favor. Another big nuke coming out, 7-3 now with 3 minutes left to go. ZenAku needs to make a move here to try to bring it back.
DaHanG's going to get a good prediction. ZenAku, you've just spawned. You're probably going to want to take a rocket, so let's try and get some free damage while at the same time creating a big divide between the 2 major items. And in this case, there is one and then some. 8 seconds away for a Mega, of which DaHanG is in a much better position, so he can just continue to cycle this gigantic lead he's working on. The injection's forced, but that is not a time ZenAku would probably want to go for it. As the light, can he get this? But he's way too early on heavy. This is going to be a scary fight for him to take. DaHanG's going to push forward. And actually, at this point, keep him behind. What's the rush now? We've got time to sit and be patient.
I think that's exactly right. I mean, similar to what ZenAku did in the last game, right? Where he just kind of let off a little bit. But the flames coming out, maybe a little too confident. ZenAku gets an LG frag. And suddenly we have a 3 frag game with 2 minutes left to go. DaHanG giving himself a few extra seconds on that spawn. He's got himself an RL and a lightning gun, but could use a little bit of extra armor. And there it is. So opponent comes into the red room, getting a lot of rocket shots off. But ZenAku with a huge shotgun blast to the face. 7-5 and less than 2 minutes to pick up 2 frags off the spawn. DaHanG looking pretty good. He's got Flame Strike up as well. Spamming some rockets into the corner.
I like that delayed spawn too, because it pretty much ensured that DaHanG was going to spawn at a relatively safe distance to try and play the slow game. But before we could even talk about that, ZenAku is on the verge of bringing this back and securing a 3-0, which I just don't think a lot of people were expecting to see. He still needs to get there though. 1 frag. It's a lot of work when there's just over a minute left. However, with the Flame Strike about to come back, at least 1 more of those are going to happen. If ZenAku can get a frag now before it becomes a threat, even better. The Mega is taken. It's soaked up.
I think he really needed that pickup. Now the question is 7 seconds, about actually 5 until heavy. He is going to be able to grab that, so he'll have both of these items to try to really take it in there. He saw DaHanG firing some LG to keep him out of that room, and I like DaHanG's positioning here, but a nice rocket from ZenAku. Now ZenAku circling around. The LG does come out. Is he going to be able to catch him down below? He's going for it. LG once again. Machine gun trying to dish out some damage, and now 30 seconds left on the clock. Huge rocket jump through the portal, and the Flame Strike comes out, but there's the inject, and he knows that his time is just running short here. He's going to pick up 1 last heavy here. Into the back hallways they go, and 15 seconds left to go. LG's come out. Both players going to commit. Oh no, dang, so low. The shotgun, there it is. Tied up 7-7 with 5 seconds left to go.
This is an insane sudden death. DaHanG has been able to pick up the Mega and shut it down, but he's got no ammo. He's got 20 nails, and that's it. He's just picked up an LG, but this is a scary fight now, as that heavy is about to spawn, and DaHanG needs to look at his other options. The rocket, at last, a few nails, but ZenAku This is going to be his chance to 3-0, and he will secure it. That's going to be ZenAku pulling off one hell of a debut here in stage 3. Well played, I think, is what we can say about that one.
Amazing. I loved the way that he was using Anarchy to like fire rockets on one side, quickly turn around. He surprised DaHanG several times, including that last frag that he got there. It's how he was able to chase him down. Just masterfully done. I can't wait to hear sort of Flea's thoughts on it. So let's bring him back. Flea, what'd you think of that one? ZenAku putting it in the history books. Finally a win.
I mean, that is one hell of a statement to start stage 3 off. And I was reading chat a bit while watching, and there was one user who said that if ZenAku beats DaHanG 3-0, he's going to confess to his crush that he loves her. So hopefully this man makes good on his word and actually goes for it. But yes, this was a very interesting series. Starting off, Exile, ZenAku, his railgun, as good as it's ever been, a tremendous 2.1k damage against DaHanG, allowing him to get a serious win. And like you pointed out, Wheat, DaHanG just really didn't get much, if any, use out of that Strog, or the Peeker at least, on that map. And then we had map 2. Awoken, of course, DaHanG did an excellent job at constantly scouting for those totems, and that meant that ZenAku never got those long-term totem advantages on. I don't think he ever got the overstack going, but that doesn't matter when you hit as much as ZenAku did. The LG was absolutely sublime, and ZenAku just established a very solid lead, and then switched to very serious defense for the past 2 or 3 minutes. And by that point, DaHanG just didn't have the time. And then, of course, the final map that we just saw, Corrupted Keep, the Flame Strike was a key part of DaHanG's strategy going into this, and it worked for quite some time. But in the end, ZenAku, he didn't really play the items a lot and was constantly looking for fights, I felt like, in those opening few minutes, which helped DaHanG really get a bit of a lead over him. But in the end, we saw a beautiful comeback and a very well-deserved 3-0 for ZenAku.
What I'm curious about is, what does this spell for the rest of the stage? Because if this is the introduction of ZenAku, a player that has been on this absolute ridiculous climb under the Quake waterfall, it's just always lovely to see players that have, I think, thoroughly embraced what Pro League has given them as players, and they make the most of it and become the best they can possibly be. We're seeing that in its purest form with ZenAku so far, and if this is his first week, very much looking forward to the rest of it.
Yeah, I hope we get a chance to chat with ZenAku. We'll find out here in a moment. I do have to say, when you get the chance to practice against people like Avic, against people like Cypher, there's 2 names that they can level up your game, right? If you're willing to put in the work and the dedication. And I would actually say, watching that Avic game right before this one, that you can see some of that rubbing off. There's no doubt about it. But whatever ZenAku is doing, if it's a diet, if it's whatever LG drills he's running, whatever, hopefully he's gonna publish a book, because I think a lot of people would like to know exactly what his regimen is. But I mean, playing against players like that, you're bound to level up, and I think we truly saw a blossoming here in this week up versus DaHanG. That is just really an impressive win.
Yeah, absolutely, ZenAku. I mean, what has gotten into him, right? It's not all that long ago that this man was still fighting for his survival in the league, facing off in these relegation games, and in the previous stage, all of a sudden, he gets top 5 in Ace, so the top half of the scoreboard, and now in his first showing this time around, after beating Kilson at the stage finals, he just knocks out DaHanG like it's no big deal, 3-0, so there's clearly something going on here, Wheat.
I like it. I really do, because anyone that follows ZenAku on social media, that he's big into fitness, and I think he's a very disciplined person in general, and has worked Pro League very much into that discipline, the practice games and everything else. But there's a lot of external stuff, and I kind of actually would love to, if we can get him in, I'd love to be able to pick his brains about it, because there have been external parts at play that have allowed him to, I think, better himself as well, that is being expressed in his improved gameplay, because he's just really, I think, taken the most of the opportunity. The rest is becoming history, as it were. But just talk about those 3 maps. Absolutely ridiculous showing. The absolute, like, the aim. I've never seen ZenAku hit like that before. That was insane stuff.
And a sick comeback, right? I mean, DaHanG looked really strong in that map 3 at the start, and we were talking about where DaHanG kind of slowed it down a little bit, was playing like the kind of the back area towards the mega side, and maybe that was an error, right? Because ZenAku with especially someone on with Anarchy could really kind of put you out of your comfort zone, surprise you. And that comeback was remarkable.
Indeed, it was a very strong showing, and it also just shows that ZenAku has evolved not just in terms of raw aim and technical skill, but also in terms of that mental resilience that is so important, and the endurance, right? Because these duels, they're at the very least 10 minutes apiece. They require so much focus. There's no changes in between rounds. There's no cooldown periods. It's just constant action, and you need to be so enduring to that onslaught of constant changes and preparation. And I think that ZenAku has not just evolved in terms of his aim and his technical skill, but also in the way that he deals with, losing frags to silly things or messing up an engagement, and just being able to keep his mind and his focus in the game and reset to keep it going. So he's really just a testament to what the Quake Challengers can be like, right? Making it into the Pro League through Challengers, and now taking down the essential number 2 NA. That's a really strong achievement.
So unfortunately, we are unable to get the interview with ZenAku. I'm sure we'll be able to talk to him about this at some point in the future. Oh, I know. I'd like to have chatted with him as well. But look on the bright side, we get into our final featured matchup of the day even faster than Gura and Kilson. We'll see you guys in a few minutes. And when we come back, a heavy-hitting finale, this week's Quake Pro League action.